What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Gamer Guy, and welcome back to my channel for a new World of Warcraft video. I know it's been an extremely long time since I've made one, so what we're going to be doing today is talking about the Restoration Druid. I've been playing this tune for probably around 8 to 9 years. I did take a break from World of Warcraft for several years, so this game is, when I came back into this game, it was very new to me, and I had to basically relearn WoW all over again, at least the additional content, not the original, of course. So, Restoration Druids are not quite the same. They are definitely not the Wrath of the Lich King Druid that I remember, or the Cata Druid that I remember. So, a lot has changed, and I can say that a lot of healers now in the game are very much the same and very well balanced. Now, Druid Healer is my bread and butter. This is the character I've always been playing with. I've always raided with a Druid Healer. I've tanked with the Druid, healed with a Druid, DPS with a Druid. I've done everything with this Druid. A Druid is a very, very well-known class to me. So today I really want to sculpt the idea that the Restoration Druid is probably the healer for you if you're interested in it versus all the other healers. Your primary focus is going to be the raid. Okay, you're going to have your Efflorescence, you're going to have your Wild Growth, Spring Blossoms is something you specialize into with Efflorescence. You can heal somebody for quite a bit of health between Rejuvenation, Efflorescence, Regrowth, Life Bloom, all the major single target to multi-target healing spells that are fairly inexpensive. So, moving forward, we're going to talk about Druid healing attributes and enhancements. So, the gear that you should be wearing should be mostly, obviously, intellect with haste, crit, mastery. Versatility, not so much versatility versus mastery. Mastery is definitely better, in my opinion, because for basically every single heal over time effect on the target, a single target. Now, if I have, Rejuvenation and Life Bloom, now my healing is increased by, so what's my mastery at? 18%. So now my healing is increased by 36% on myself. So mastery is really, really important, I think, over versatility. Versatility, I think, would be more of a tanking aspect. It reduces damage and healing done. So I honestly think versatility is better for tanking than healing. Mastery is definitely the way you want to go. Also, a good focus is crit and haste. Obviously, haste is going to make your heal over time effects tick more frequently. So critical strike is also extremely important, but you don't want to go too crazy with crit. A crit is important. You want your spells to be critting. I want to get this to at least 25%, so a quarter of the time my spells are critting, but I want to focus more on mastery and haste because that's going to matter more than critical strike when it comes to doing mythic plus 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever the levels go to. That's what I want to focus on more, is having more haste and mastery to get the spells out faster, have them tick faster, and then have them heal for more. Now, going on to your specialization and talents. I'm not going to read all of these because it's a complete waste of time, but this is what I use for raid, for things like mythics, mythic dungeons. I would switch from prosperity to Cenarian Ward in most cases. That doesn't mean that I will. Prosperity is a really, really good thing that go in combination with Soul of the Forest because it makes your heals very, very potent, especially Wild Growth. But this is why it's good for raid, because Wild Growth is going to affect 6 targets in raid. Obviously, in dungeons it's going to do the same, but there's more quantity of people, so you're going to guarantee hitting 6 targets most of every time, because most people stack in raids. So Prosperity and Soul of the Forest combined with Wild Growth or even Regrowth on a single target blast heal is amazing. Obviously, Spring Blossoms is a really good thing to have. Some people do Germination. I'm not too fond of Germination because you're wasting twice the mana to do, I guess, twice the heals. But, you have to pretty much double tap everybody that you want to apply it to. And it ends up becoming a waste of time and mana. And I really don't think it's that big of a deal to have Germination in either raid or in a mythic aspect. Maybe in the higher end mythics, it's probably a good stat to go in combination with Abundance. But honestly, guys, I really think Germination's a waste of a talent. It's just my personal opinion. Stonebark and Flourish are my two main ones that I use down here. Mainly because
Stone bark has a reduced cooldown of iron bark, and it increases the healing to that target that it's applied to by 20% by your heal over times, which is really, really, really good for 5-mans. I usually don't spec into Flourish for 5-mans. That's more of a raid thing. So Stonebark is where I usually go, and Cenarian Ward. Maybe I'll keep Prosperity just for the shit of it sometimes, but most of the time, this is where it stays right here. The only things that change are my level 75 talent tree and my top one. Now renewal is important, but when you're in raid, Displacer Beast is definitely where you want to be because you move faster. You can get out of raid damage faster. It's absolutely, I think it's absolutely more efficient than renewal in a raid. Renewal, you have other heals to heal you plus yourself. So you don't really need an emergency heal to renewal unless you're like in a dire situation. But that's really my opinion, and everybody else has their own opinion. So there's really not much to really go over with the talents. You can read them and kind of decide for yourself or copy what I have. It's up to you guys. But the talents are pretty straightforward, and they're easy to understand which ones go together. Obviously, Abundance and Germination would go together, and even Flourish would go together with those two. Prosperity and Soul of the Forest go together. Cenarian Ward and Stonebark are really good because Cenarian Ward's a gigantic fucking heal over a short period of time, and Stonebark is going to increase that heal. So you definitely want to combine those two, especially if you have Ironbark added to your tank or whatever target you're focusing on, because it's just going to be more worth your while in the end. And you're probably going to end up healing somebody for about 500 to 600k versus 300k with Cenarian Ward if you use Ironbark on the target. And trust me, every time this thing is off cooldown, I'd use it on the tank. The two of them. This is a 30-second cooldown. This is a minute cooldown when it's spec'd into. So I use it even when I'm not spec'd into it. I use it all the time because it is that important to make sure the tank has just that much more armor. Now we're going to cover the importance of spell rotation, especially in a 5-man. So we're going to go ahead and jump into a heroic, and we're going to demonstrate healing in a 5-man. I know this video is kind of lengthy. I'm going to edit the piss out of it so you guys don't have to watch too much of the video, but we're going to go ahead and jump into a 5-man heroic, get the daily out of the way, and show you the spell rotation and the proper way to heal with a druid in a 5-man. Right on first pull, I always put Ironbark on the tank just because it's so much better to do something like that, because it just avoids having to do immediate raid healing, or tank healing rather. So as a druid healer in boss fights, I like to just keep all 5 people rejuved. It's such a healthy habit to get into. Of course, I'm standing in raid damage like a dummy. So it's important to keep everybody hotted up. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Of course, that was a really fast down. Jesus. Okay, so boss fight healing is pretty straightforward. This guy doesn't really put out too much damage, so I mean, it's not going to be extremely damage intensive. But you're going to want to obviously cast all the essentials on the tank: Life Bloom, Rejuvenation, Ironbark.
1.
And of course, now we have a free regrowth, so we want to use that every time it's up. And mine procs all the time, which is so nice. Of course, I'm eating this stuff because I don't care. Free regrowth on me. Alright, so our tank's getting about 50%, so you swift mend him 2 times. Boom, he's back up to full health. This isn't the spec that I usually use.
1.
So
Beware.
get in the bubble. Throw up that free regrowth. Make sure you're using free spells, man. Alright, so one last boss fight. We're at the end of the instance now. This is obviously Odin. Short fight. It's probably going to be over in like less than 20-30 seconds. In Mythic, +1, it's not terrible, but +2, 3, anything up above +1 is just like fucking, or +2, sorry, is just god awful.
Even the Odin fight, the Heimdall fight is annoying. But the one thing I don't like about raiding or dungeoning is a lot of people that you play with don't really know what this green circle means, and they never stand in it.
Run away, little girl! Run away!
Kitty, run! So these free regrowths are nice. You want to make sure you
Beware!
basically keep regrowth on the tank as long as it's free. Like I said, it does cost a lot of fucking mana, so. And always let Life Bloom fall off. I just recasted it without letting it fall off. That's why Life Bloom is such an infrequently used spell, because people forget. They just let it fall off and then they forget to reapply it.
Run away, little girl! Run away!
Put some iron bark on him and load him down. So that was quick. But yeah, boss fighting is really easy. It's obviously a heroic. It'd be more challenging if I was in a mythic or something, you know, but I'm obviously not in a mythic, so just doing my daily to get my artifact power. Bam. Bam. What am I at for artifact power now? 15,000. Alright. We'll wait till we get double that and I'll spec into 2 things. But that's pretty much it for Druid 5-man healing. Now we're going to go into LFR. Okay, so as a healer, your main objective in here is obviously raid healing. So you want to keep wild growth and efflorescence down as much as possible. And then do your big heals on the targets that really, 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 really need it. Every time regrowth is off cooldown, it should be casted. Whether you're overhealing or not, I really think that that's a huge importance. I gotta move my cooldown bars. They're covering one of my... There's not much healing going out right now because it's not really raid intensive right now. So there's a lot of overhealing going out. So I'm not really trying to waste too much mana on this shit.
Beware!
I think the other tank needs to taunt, like Jesus Christ. Thank you.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The reason why I'm clicking my spells is because my Naga's broken, so if you guys are like, oh, what a noob, that's why. And down. See if we get anything. Oh, sweet. Piece of shit ring that I don't need. So that's pretty much it, everybody. I hope you learned something from all that I had to say. I know the video might be a little long, but if you really, really stayed the whole video, I'm sure you learned something about Druid healers that you didn't know before, and hopefully it improves your overall healing abilities with your Restoration Druid and your overall understanding of how to gear and spec your Druid. Now, like I said, everybody has different playing styles, everybody has different talents and specs. Because the way the new game is designed, there is no real surefire spec that works for everything. There will be a narrowed down specialization that everyone will probably use. That's probably the one that I have, because this one's actually a copy of another Druid healer that raids with me, and it does pretty well for him, so that's why I'm trying it out. But everything changes, and it depends on what kind of healing you're doing to spec into different specializations. So that's it. We're going to be doing another video on like boss fights and maybe the monk healing once I get him to 110. And we're going to be doing some progressive work on that monk, because I think they're actually potentially a really good healer compared to most other healers. So again, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed.